Chris, thanks very much for taking the time to speak to us on what I'm sure is a very busy day for you. It's the Chris Henry Derby. Before we look at how the match has gone so far, what's it been like from your perspective?
Unusual. I've been coaching in snooker for many years, and usually if you get to this stage of a tournament, you're very nervous because you've got a player in the final, and you want that player to do very well and obviously try and win the tournament. This is different because I'm working with both finalists, and unfortunately one of those finalists is going to lose, which is not a nice feeling. But of course one's going to win as well. So it's a complete mixed bag for me today. It's a strange situation.
And how do you feel the match has gone so far? I suppose it was Sean making the early running, but Mark played very, very well last night, didn't he?
Mark's match play is so strong. And the reason for that is he's just strong in all areas. He can play any kind of snooker. He can play scrappy snooker. He's a great scorer. When his long potting's on, he's incredible. And he's brought that sort of strategy to the table in this first day. And that's why he's now leading 10-7. I think Sean was a bit more aggressive early on and did well early on. But sort of Mark's brought a different strategy to the game that suits him. So maybe Sean has to be a little bit aware of that and look at potentially a different strategy for him in the next session, Usually if things aren't going well, you've got to look at something and maybe change one or two things around. So I think that, they've both played phenomenal snooker throughout the tournament. Of course, it's always going to be a little bit edgy in the final. It's the world final. But I think we're going to see some fireworks today. And that's another strange situation where you're in both changing rooms at the intervals. But we don't talk about the other player. We don't talk about their strategy. My role is to help each player be their best. And they're the kind of things that I'm working on.
And I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about your work with each player in terms of the mentality specifically. I mean, to start with Sean, he's had a very difficult season. He's been quite open about his sort of mental struggles with the COVID situation and things. Yeah. But I think in the press room, one of the things we've noticed this week is he's got that sort of stomp back on around the table, and he looks very much up for it again. What have you done to try and turn that mentality around for this event?
I think it's been very difficult for everybody. When you look around the world, COVID's had an impact on everybody in terms of the mental side of things. A lot of people are suffering from anxiety and even depression, because we're social animals. We like to be around people. And when that's taken away from us, it's not an easy situation. Sean, as we've said before, is an entertainer, is a showman, and he loves the crowd. And he's missed that this last 12, 15 months. And I think coming to the Crucible and doing well and having that crowd there has really, it's sort of got the juices flowing for him. And I think it's one of the reasons why he's done well this week, is because emotion, how you're feeling, has such a huge impact on your performance. We're trying to get results, can't control that. We're trying to perform at our best, we can't really control that. We're trying to feel great, and you can't necessarily control that either. So it then comes down to your thoughts and how you're thinking. And one of the things that we work on is what's called neural rewiring, which is a way of getting your subconscious to produce automatically positive thoughts. And it takes a bit of repetition over time. So those kinds of things are playing out as well. But you can just see in this arena, in front of this big crowd, he really comes into his own.
And with Mark, he spoke a little bit about how you've not turned around to his technique. In fact, you've made a point of saying that the technique was never the problem, but he's now got the confidence again, and he's one of the best in the world again.
Right. The technical side of Mark Selby is excellent. And what you've got to do with these kinds of players is prove that. It's no good somebody saying, I think your technique is great. Okay. So you've got to use something to help a player identify, is my technique good? And if it's okay, I want to mention this. And
go ahead.
It is a bit of a promotion, but these are very powerful. This is habitualization in a very tight tolerance. Striking the cue ball where intended is very important by habit, and aiming the cue ball where intended by habit. Now, Mark's weakness was actually aiming. I'm not going to go too deep, but basically in the back of your brain, you've got a visual cortex, okay, which is responsible. It takes information from the eyes, and what it does, it interprets that information. And it's incredible. What I've seen over these last few years is something pretty unique that's never really been talked about in snooker. Players can actually start to aim to miss shots, and they're not consciously aware that they're actually aiming to miss. Okay, Graham Dott, a few years ago, he was aiming to miss. blaming his technique for the fault because he wasn't aware of the problem. Sean Murphy, aiming to miss, blaming his technique for the problem because the technique's the tangible, the aiming is the intangible, right? Mark Selby, aiming to miss shots and unaware of it and saying there's something wrong with my technique. It wasn't technical, it was visual. So what you've got to do is re-coordinate. You've got your mechanics and your visuals, and through repetition of conscious override, you've got to re-coordinate the mechanics with the vision.
And finally, to end on you, you said how strange it will be tonight to have both the winner and the loser in your camp. What will the emotions be like for you at the end of play?
You know, I should be elated today, but you know, deep down there's that nagging, one of them's going to lose. You know, it's not a nice feeling to have. So I have to enjoy today. You know, I'm a coach. This is the ultimate. To get a player into a final of a World Championships is incredible. To get two in the same final, well, apparently it's history. It's never been done before. So I've got to make sure I enjoy it. But there's going to be a little bit of a downer, unfortunately. Listen, it's not the end of the world. It's the world final. You know, these guys have done incredibly well. One's going to be disappointed, but overall it's very positive, isn't it?
Well, congrats on both players getting here and enjoy today.
Thank you very much.
Betfred, proud sponsor of the World Snooker Championship.